watch me while I sleep. Don't require your belief. Offering silence but no relief. Can you scream without a sound? Like the freeze that's coming down. Barren space where nothing grows. A secret place where no one goes.
You are listening to Chaos Springs Eternal, a Delta Green actual play. Delta Green, by its nature, deals with violent themes and disturbing imagery, as well as horrors beyond comprehension. Now, if you don't mind those things, I think you'll have a fun time listening. Join us, won't you? Hello, and welcome back to Chaos Springs Eternal presents Season 1, City of Woe.
Wow. Whoa.
So glad I was able to get through that. All right, well, this is going to be a little bit of a different episode. This is going to be a sort of a talkback episode. I'm going to give my players a chance to ask me some more questions and then maybe give a little bit of insight into where they want the rest of this campaign to go. If you're listening now and you're all caught up, you have officially listened to Arc 1 of City of Woe. Start to finish, 24 episodes. Basically, the investigation of Florazon Manor and the banishing of Marguerite. That's the sort of big bullet points for that. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff in there that was not directly relevant to that. But that was because I was seeding lots of threads in the town and for the players for things that they may want to, investigate more. There's obviously the fallout to deal with. That's going to be sort of, I imagine, number one on most people's plates, but I'm also willing to explore other things that they have interest in because it would be really boring if it was just like one thread that they were following to the end and never got to do any little like side things. So I want to open up the floor to y'all right now and ask, do you have any questions about this first arc? Maybe lingering questions about the mystery that I might be able to answer. If it's a case where it's like, oh, if I answered that, that's actually going to spoil something that takes place in the future. I'm just going to give sort of the Brandon Sanderson, like read and find out, but it's play and find out.
How many episodes did you think it was going to take us?
10. I thought it was going to be 10 episodes.
Well, I'm sorry.
That sounds right.
I'm kind of amazed that I had that response, but I did think it was about 10. I was like, okay, we'll have the intro. We'll have the, manor investigation. We're obviously going to have a little distraction because I've played with y'all before. And so at some point we'll have like a little bit of, sidetracking downtime. Like that was always planned as I was get like at least a downtime in there. And then you'd have the, actual exorcism part. Obviously there were a lot of things that I wasn't planning for. Like I didn't really think that you'd get Clementine there. I didn't know how involved you'd get with Detective Marr. I didn't know when you would, I thought you would run into Glomus like way earlier.
So, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your favorite distraction that we threw at you?
Oh, man. Well, obviously, Marcy's fall was not 100% planned. That way, it was sort of, I had the moment of like, I really need a place to end this episode, and I really kind of want to make a threat to one of the players. And so it just happened to be like, I looked at the map, and I was like, Noah's right there. Why don't I just have Marguerite open up a hole in the floor? Because that's one thing that I think that's like a very poltergeisty type of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I was like, well, why don't I do that? And so I did.
Seems like Noah's characters are always standing in the spot where we want to kill them.
Yeah.
It's easy.
It's easy. You're always standing like next to the bear trap.
It's that double-edged sword of like when you're playing on virtual tabletops, sometimes people kind of take their time moving their tokens. You
Yeah.
know, whether
I usually
they're
think
doing
I'm
that
good
for,
about
like, a
that.
meta thing. Well, no, but, like, no, you are moving them sort of, like, as you're doing stuff, whereas other people are like, "Well, I do this stuff, and then I'm gonna move my token where I'm gonna
Yeah.
be," right? But you tend to move it sort of alongside your playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's saying you do it right, and we're stupid for not.
And so he
Right.
punishes me
Yes.
for I understand.
Punishes you
I
for it.
understand.
Yeah.
Well, I
That's
give you the most
100% it.
interesting plot developments, and
No,
that
he's
is
That I fail
That's
all my
true.
rolls on identify.
yeah.
Well, I got to say that's better than one of our former table mates where they would just run around the entire building undoing the fog of war, and then you'd be like, what the fuck did you opened every door in this map?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was always so pissed at them. It's just like, what is wrong with you?
Ugh. I've learned that for at least Foundry, I lock every door.
Yeah, every door
I
is fucking
lock
locked.
every door
Every door is
before
locked.
players can get to
Oh,
it.
that giant arch that you're gonna walk through, it's fucking locked. I'm sorry.
It's a locked door, by the way.
It's a
nerd.
locked arch, you fuckers.
It's like a garage door when the shutter goes over.
It's got a piece of cellophane across it. It's locked. I want to know how long it took you to come up with the nursery rhymes.
Yes.
Oh, that didn't. I mean, I actually came up with those. So when I initially conceived of the plot of, like, you know, they go to a haunted manor, I was like, well, what's a way to set a spooky atmosphere? And I was like, well, why don't I just do, like, nursery rhymes? Like, those, there's always ways to, like, and I think part of me was, what's that book that's like, A was for Aiden who died, you know, doing this, all the very macabre. I can't remember what book that is, but that's just like, that stuck out to me. And then also, like, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark that are more of, like, kids spooky things. And I think, like, I didn't want to make it, like, graphic and gross, you know. I just wanted to give a few, both, you know, to sort of set the mood, but then also, you know, I laced those rhymes with sort of hints about what had happened.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Which we finally figured out 20 episodes in.
Yup.
But that's
Yeah.
okay, because I'm hoping that there are things from some of these early episodes that you guys look back, you know, at the end of arc 3 or arc 4, and you're like, oh, that was from this. There aren't a ton of
if only
those, I
we
think.
understood.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we're idiots.
Oh, we should have seen that.
He straight up told us this is who the villain is, and we just were just like, haha, that's funny, Dan. Haha.
And they were roommates.
And they were
They were his roommate asking for mayo.
Oh, God, please don't. remind
Yeah,
me. No, he asked for Miracle Whip. Difference.
he's gonna be the final boss. He's gonna be the final,
100%.
the demon of Carrefour.
Gonna be the
That's gonna be the first time that Joel
Bong
hits a
King.
breaking point. He's gonna do fight, and he's gonna drive home and just kill Kian.
With the mayo jar.
Oh, thank you for Kian, by the way. He is very fun to play.
Yeah, I was like, and when I was sitting there trying to think of my bonds, which we've only really properly encountered 2 of them, being Clementine and Kian. And then we have a couple more who have been talked about and hinted at, but have not really shown up in any real way.
Mhm.
I was like, I want to give the widest possible range that I think would be the most fun, both for this character to talk about and to talk to and interact with, and then for Dan just to fuck with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something that we need to keep in mind too, as we're leeching sanity here, is that we have bonds that we can pass that shit off to.
I did it for the mayor one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always forget that I just have these 2 little buffers here that I can destroy.
I have these 2 people I can totally alienate from my life.
I have been bad about reminding you. So as more strange stuff comes in, I will
Delta
try.
Green is kind of a crunchy system, though. That's not your fault. It's just a case of like there are a lot of options in the system that, in the midst of playing, aren't readily like, oh right, I can do X, Y, or Z. It's just like we're in. We are in.
Yeah, and I think part of it's just immersion, because part of the thing is like you run into whatever unnatural or violence or helplessness or whatever, and your instinct, I mean, as a person, is not to be like, well, I'm gonna I'm not gonna deal with this right now. I'm going to ruin my relationships with my best friend because of this thing that I saw.
I just saw a dead body. I hate my dad.
Yeah. I mean, I think it does make sense. Like there's this general like, oh, you are changed now because of what you've witnessed, and so your interactions with other people kind of reflect that. I do get that, but it's not always my instinct.
Yeah, for sure.
It
It's
also
hard to
didn't
be-
help. Our first game, we never fucking did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
really mad about it back then, but y'all barely
Yeah.
interacted with your bonds, so
Yeah.
I don't even remember what my character's final sanity score was, but I know his willpower was like a solid 2.
yeah.
Yeah, you were real low. I think you were under 20.
Sanity. Sorry, I just opened it up. I'm at my maximum was 12. I was at 1 by the end of that.
No, that's right. Yeah, you're
Yep.
fucking crazy.
Good times.
I actually do have something I just want clarified real quick.
Sure.
About Marguerite.
Yes.
So
I will preface this by saying that there are at least 3 narratives about Marguerite in this first arc, from different perspectives, and so I'm happy to clear up any of the confusion from.
So how I'm interpreting it is that Sawyer summoned this thing basically to torment. Oh my god, why am I blanking on everyone's
Colette.
names? Colette. Jesus Christ, Tyler. So Sawyer summoned this poltergeist, this thing that was not actually their daughter, to torment Colette, and then Colette basically brought that back to the manor and tried to trap it in there, also at the same time kind of giving Sawyer a taste of his own medicine.
Yeah, that's actually. I mean, I think that was sort of Colette's parting word, was trying to clarify that, but I think that was communicated well then.
Yes, that's. I just wanted like doubly sure, to keep it straight, both in mine and in Joel's noggin.
Yeah, and I mean, the Babineaus being sort of involved in some of this black magic is not something that being able to find that out was kind of big, because obviously it doesn't seem like they're still into that. So being able to explain sort of the downfall of the Babineaus as a reversal of this sort of poltergeist curse that Sawyer did, that was where that went. So sorry, I'm a little congested, so I have no idea if what I just said was like completely rambling or made sense.
No, you made sense.
Total sense.
Total sense. The thing is that we don't know where Marguerite actually came from, right? Like we don't have a verified. That could have just been a ghost that they trapped in there, or it could have been something else.
Yeah. So some sort of, I mean, I think poltergeists are generally supposed to be like demons, right?
Yeah. But we don't have an origin for that demon.
No.
Yeah. We don't have
in
any
order
record
to do that.
of,
I think you'd have to like find what summoning he did.
Sure.
Maybe something like the Ars Goetia.
Yeah.
Or some other grimoire. I don't know if there's, who knows? Maybe someone in town has a grimoire.
Oh.
I wanted to ask you this. Were we gonna be able to deal with the ghost situation in Florazon Manor without Luna? Did you have like a contingency plan if we were like, fuck esoteric bookstores?
So, yeah, I mean, you didn't need the esoteric implements to actually hurt Marguerite.
Yeah.
What those did was they gave you a bonus to those to the unnatural rolls that you did, and so that as you rolled more and more in the unnatural, she became more like solid and real. But there were a handful of other ways that you could have done that. She didn't strictly need the implements, but without the implement effect, like when you were hitting her with the orgone, every time that she became more and more real, essentially her, for lack of a better term, she had like armor, and so part of your damage was not going through, and the more real she got, the more damage went through.
Okay.
And so those implements just sort of made that go faster.
Got it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We just had really bad luck and weirdly timed luck.
Yes, both incredibly bad and good luck, I would say.
Yeah, we
Okay.
had some good rolls that last time.
I think when I listened back, I think there were 3 critical successes in that fight.
Yeah. I guess am I the only one who's curious about stuff?
No, I didn't know what to
Yeah.
ask about for a second. I was
Okay, you guys
sifting
go.
through.
I feel like I've asked like 3 questions.
Was Detective Marr always kind of intended to be around with Glomus, or was that just kind of a way, like, did he get roped into this by the way that we bumblefucked our way through it?
Yeah, Glomus probably would have preferred not to deal with Detective Marr. But I didn't see any way for him not to get involved with it because
Makes
of
sense.
the body.
Yeah.
I was curious how much you would share with him about that. And so once the body was like confirmed, he was going to be there.
Yeah, that makes sense, because like that was, I thought about that ever since you said you anticipated us meeting Glomus like that early into this series, and just with how Detective Marr, I don't want to say felt like a side character at the time, or like when he was kind of first introduced, but like, I don't know, it felt like we kind of forced him into being a lot more important than he is.
Well, I'll say this. I kind of thought that, I knew you would run into Detective Marr in this first arc, and I'm not going to say he's like super important. I don't want, I don't know exactly what specific role he'll play in the future, but I knew that he would be interacting with y'all because essentially he is, for lack of a better term, a synecdoche of the police force. Like he's that part that represents the whole for your interaction. So
Yeah.
he's the face of the police force for you. And rather than try and like list out a whole bunch of policemen that you might go into, I think it's a little easier to just sort of give you guys one contact.
Absolutely, yeah. Speaking of the police force, I am curious what the fallout is going to be for Antoine's partner, who is currently in their custody right now.
No,
Like,
she was
she's-
released.
She's got
She was
released.
released?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep,
how did I
that's,
fucking misremember that? My bad.
Yeah, right at the end of last episode, you guys
Chelsea Wynn, you got the
got released,
message
yeah.
from Detective Marr that she had been
Okay.
released.
God.
It was kind of sandwiched in a bunch of jokes,
Yeah, there was a lot
so
happening.
Yes.
There was a lot happening.
I was just worried about like the lack of psychiatric help we might be receiving if she was kiboshed.
Yeah, it's a good question. Obviously, there's a few threads from that I think y'all might want to explore. Are there any other like big threads that you think are going to be where you go next, or if you have more questions, also fine with that.
I think for at least Marcy, she's going to push for Joel to look more into the church. But that's Marcy.
yeah, I think the two biggest things on Joel's mind right now, other than keeping the manor safe, is what is going on with that church? Or is it like a church thing? Is it a demonic thing? Is it just like he has some weird abilities and like that's just how they manifest? And the other big thing is we gotta figure out a way to get Antoine's body to be revealed.
I
I guess it's not as big of a deal for us since Chelsea is free now.
Dump it out in a field and just be like, "Oh wow, that's crazy!" Oh,
Well, it's not even that. Just like, hey, Glomus, do something. Like you can't like. Detective Mar has to do something with it.
Glomus,
Like there
let
has
the
to be
police
some
have
kind
a
of
turn with the
closure
body.
for the town.
Yeah.
Can Glomus do something with it?
I don't know. He does fucking magic.
So he does have the body. So whenever y'all want to figure out what to do about that, I also kind of have in the back of my head, if y'all don't do anything about that, Glomus and Detective Mar will figure out something to do. But
Yeah,
it just depends
But
on what you prioritize.
Yeah, we still don't know what killed Antoine.
No.
true.
That's what I'm.
Yeah.
That's honestly what I'm most curious about.
Okay.
Is what is going to happen now that the veil is down.
Yeah.
I'm curious as to are those entities are going to get more. Yeah, I don't know.
I hate that I can't tell whether Dan was joking about like, oh yeah, a zombie uprising in Carrefour, that'd be crazy. Looks at
I didn't say zombie. I
Dan's
said Army
monitor
of
where
the
he's
Undead.
oh, okay,
Tomato,
so
tomato.
just the Necronomicon being unleashed in Carrefour. Dan googling graveyard plot maps, or the other thing that was that we fucking chanced upon or not chanced upon, that we encountered in the upper section of the Carrefour Manor or Flores Manor, that chest that transported us elsewhere.
No,
Yes.
wasn't it less we got transported, but things were
Replaced.
replaced?
Yeah.
Well, when I said that, that was the mode of transportation, right? You didn't feel like you were moving. It was just like everything changed.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay, I get what you're saying. That was just okay.
Yeah.
so I know where that is, obviously.
Transplaced?
But right now, I'm just going to call it the other place.
Yeah. So we did go air quote somewhere else, but it's just it felt like it for the visuals something dropped out and was replaced by something else sliding in.
Yes.
Okay. Now I got that.
Yeah.
All right.
I think I'm gonna have Marcy get into some occult bullshit and just try looking up stuff with that.
That'll be interesting to see because Marcy's ability to research stuff has been either really, really good or just like nothing.
Or non-existent.
She's very swing or miss.
Yeah.
And by that I mean it's mostly miss is what it feels like.
Yeah. Well, you do have a standing invitation from Luna to join the coven.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
That could be interesting.
We've all got to hook up with Luna. Hey,
Wow.
In one way or another.
Joel's got to learn some magic, and Cyril's going to learn some magic of a different kind, and
Cyril's gonna
Marcy's
show
gonna
her
learn
some
some
magic.
And this is where the magic happens. And it's just
yeah.
it's the corner of Cyril's room where he has the Orgurite.
Where the magic happens.
We have to do it in front of Marguerite.
We have to do it.
No. She likes to watch.
She likes it.
This fucked up demon. I'm torturing it by exposure to humans.
And it's the Orgonite, and it's dressed as a clown.
What the fuck? Oh my god.
Lipstick on it.
Huh.
Oh.
I just imagine like on a clown, but the Orgonite is the clown nose.
That's even better.
So I want to share one thing that I was kind of, and I think I maybe even like said this out loud, but I was kind of surprised that for like the exorcism part, you guys didn't like go the Ouija board and candles and those sorts of things. Like, that's what I thought. So I thought you guys were gonna like have some of that stuff. And when it was clear to me that like that was not in your sort of bag of ideas, that's where I was kind of like dropping the Luna ethereal essence form stuff. And I was like, well, maybe you should go over there just in case you need like a list of things that might be good to bring.
Hey, players, you need to have something. Going in there with nothing is going to fuck you up.
Right. Well, I guess the reason I don't think we went that route is because I don't think it was expedient. Like,
Yeah.
I think I felt more like on a timeline, like we had to get this done.
Yeah.
And so brute force was kind of the way to go.
I'm just dumb and never thought about it.
I definitely did. I was in the same boat as Tyler with that regard, but I also felt like I don't think Marguerite is going to allow us to sit there and perform a seance in the manor uninterrupted.
Yeah.
That shit would have been rad, though. Salt
It would've
circle,
been-
Ouija
would've
board
been
in the
really
middle,
cool.
shit getting thrown at us.
Yeah.
So
Wax
I will
everywhere.
say, I don't know how much I want to say here. It could have worked. I think I would have been willing to make it work because obviously she hadn't like physically attacked any of you prior to that point.
Hmm.
And so
Okay, Dan. Okay.
that was not her physically attacking you though. That was her
So-
manipulating parts of the house.
So if I were to come up behind you and push you down a hole,
She did
I
not
wouldn't be
push you.
charged
She
with
just
assault?
created the hole.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need to go into your home and cut a thing to the basement.
Right.
Just-
If you went
Kidding,
full Roadrunner and Coyote on him.
But-
I'm gonna paint. I'm
I
gonna
guess
paint a
my point
hole
is that y'all had been in that house for a while,
we did, yeah.
and she didn't like
Yeah.
ever confront and attack you.
Well, who threw the chandelier?
That was her. Yeah.
Oh, so
So maybe I lied a
Kinda
little
did.
bit. She kinda did.
you mean the chandelier that was
Okay.
embedded in the wall?
but okay.
Yeah.
Maybe she
to be
threw
fair-
one real hard punch.
Maybe she threw one chandelier. Everyone's allowed one chandelier.
There is a reason behind that though. The reason that she didn't like straight up come in and like, bite your head off, is because prior to her possession of Clementine, she was still mostly bound into the house. And
Got
so
it.
it was only that little possessing that she did, which she could only do because Clementine was partially possessed by Colette as well. Anyways, I had in my mind
That's what that hand was.
Yeah, that's what the hand
Okay.
was.
Yeah.
So that hand was Colette sort of connecting with Clementine because they are both in the coven.
Yep.
And that allowed her to get a little bit of freedom, but it also opened a little gateway for Marguerite to get a little more physical.
Okay.
There is some thought behind all of that. I know I make up a lot of stuff on the fly, but not all of it.
Listen, it's
Yeah.
only 90% made up. Were the rats in the basement also Marguerite, or is that some other fucking crazy thing going on?
That was just, the house is a spooky place. I had another encounter in the house that I wrote that was because I was like, oh, what if there's a swarm of rats in one place and like a giant rat in another place? And
Jesus Christ.
my plan was to just put the giant rat in the kitchen, but y'all never like went in the kitchen until the very end. And I was like, well, I'm not just going to like have a giant rat encounter before the ghost. Like that would be
Right.
boring to me. So,
I got a question, and maybe this was answered. I don't remember, but the scratches on the crown molding of the floor, what created those?
those were the rats.
Okay, so it wasn't like I was under the impression
I
that it was like
I might have had
somebody
the idea
like
that it
with
was,
like claws, like 4 fingers, like scraped into the side.
let me see. Do I have it in my note? Okay, I had that as a that was supposed to be foreshadowing for the giant rat.
Okay,
And that
I
he
was curious.
he had scratches in the baseboards because obviously if a giant rat, it's got like some magical influence.
Sure.
And since there's that portal that Glomus was using to sort of get into this
Mhm.
side, thing, the rat
Yeah.
was aware that there was something there.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But
That makes sense.
yeah, that didn't pan out.
Any plans for
Yeah.
a faction of rats? Like there's a faction of ghouls and a coven, and
I don't know.
Skaven.
Would you guys like some magical animals?
Skaven.
that'd be fun.
Okay.
Not against it.
Listen, we are in Louisiana, if there's not a talking like
Mule?
Creole gator, I'm gonna be mad.
Okay. All right.
Creole Gator. That's your task for next time.
Yeah, he's got to be like, wow, I'm not a big crocodile alligator.
Give me the gumbo.
I'm just a simple country gator.
I'm
Don't hold my mouth shut or I
here,
can't
folks.
open it.
I'm just a little
I
gator.
didn't-
Yeah,
no.
just gonna
I didn't
bite
go
your
to
leg
the
off.
City.
I need to get this rubber band off my mouth. I can't open it too big.
No, don't put your hand on my nose. Oh. No, I can't talk.
No, damn it.
And consider the entire state of Louisiana offended.
Yeah,
They
well,
weren't already.
Yeah, they're pretty riled up. Raging Cajuns.
sorry, Louisiana. Sorry for displaying your whole state as cool with talking gators.
That's right. Yep.
Oh, also, did I mention that this gator is in a suit and he's smoking? Does that make it better?
Whoa.
Cigar,
Absolutely.
cigarettes.
What kind
the
of
long
cigarette?
cigarette on the end of the staff.
Weed?
He's smoking
The
weed.
ganja.
He's in a bathing suit.
Yo, he's in a bathing.
He's in an old timey bathing suit with the straw hat, and he's smoking a joint.
Pot smoking gator in a bathing suit.
God.
Just
He's vaping. He's vaping.
He's been. Oh, no, he's lame. He's lame now.
he's getting one hitter.
He's blowing clouds.
Have you ever,
God, what
have
is
you
it?
ever heard of
2016 all over
cotton
again?
lung? Is that what it's called, or is
Popcorn
it popcorn lung? Thank you,
Mm.
popcorn lung. Okay.
Boy, there's no good way to shorten vaping gator into either vager or gaper.
Oh,
I like the last one. I like the last one more.
Nope, that's bad. That's a bad one.
Says here.
Gaper.
So were there any other weird things other than the giant gator? Or some, fuck me. The giant
the
rat.
gaper?
The gaper.
The
yeah,
gaper?
other than the giant rat, the swarm of rats, and Glomus, Marguerite, Colette. Were there other encounters in here? Because we only explored like what feels like 1/3 of this building.
So what I was gonna do if y'all hadn't wound up going, if y'all hadn't gone to the Ethereal Essence Forum, I was going to port a lot of sort of the history of the Babinos into journals or maybe like a little haunt or something like that in here. That was something that I played around with. But y'all seem kind of like spooked by the whole manner. And so like at times I felt like I was inviting you to like check into this room. And then y'all be like, well, let's go talk with Detective Marr outside now. I was just like, oh, okay.
Well, when you make a spooky manner.
Yeah, I know. It's a little bit of like, I can't make it too spooky, or otherwise you guys won't go in there because you fear for your character's lives.
Yeah, I'm sorry, our characters have rational human thoughts occasionally.
Okay, but I do want you to look at your sanity scores and start thinking about, what is my actual reflection of sort of grip on reality.
I understand that. My sanity's still high enough where I'm not like, I don't think Joel's gonna be doing crazy shit yet.
Yeah, all right.
I think I'm like not far from my max, or like what I started at in terms of sanity. Like after that first break, I think she just like bounced back.
Right, so I gotta start being more mean about.
No, what?
Yeah,
the fuck?
no, fuck us up. Yeah, no, I'm nodding. I'm agreeing.
Okay, all right.
Hit us with that gaper.
Oh, geez.
Gaper's a 1d20 sanity loss.
Yeah.
I see
my
a vaping gator
just see
skating
Cajun
down
gator.
Main Street, Carrefour.
Skating down. He's on rollerblades. He's on 4 rollerblades.
I had a
rollerblades.
skateboard.
No, yeah, like he's just got it on his feet and his hands just horizontal.
Oh my gosh. Can this be our first fan art, please?
Yes,
Please.
If
It
you
better
have
be.
any artistic talent, please draw the
All right.
vaping gator.
So for the inevitable artist that's listening to this, that was a giant talking gator in a Creole accent with a straw hat and a bathing suit, vaping down Main Street in rollerblades.
Yes.
Yes, please draw the Cajun accent.
Yeah, draw the
Screaming-
Cajun accent.
Draw the Cajun accent, and he's screaming
Yeah, as
Rancho
he speaks,
Cucamonga.
as he speaks, shrimp gumbo just falls out of his mouth.
I thought you were going to say falls out of his pockets.
I
Out of the pockets of his alligator bathing suit.
Uh,
Uh,
okay, well.
what's What's some other aspect of the campaign that you thought we were going to touch on more, but then we just completely missed?
Other than the manor.
Yeah. Other than taking
let's see.
14 episodes too long to accomplish something.
The manor was big. I thought you guys would go back to the pastor after the ghost stuff. Like, the pastor is not supposed to be someone you dislike. I don't know why that's how it worked out,
That's my fault.
but I was very ready to have y'all, like, I thought, either like consult with the pastor or maybe invite him to go with you. That's one thing that I definitely thought. Anything else?
I think so. I thought about the whole like bringing the pastor with us, but especially since we have that gauche and with Glomus and everything, that's just one extra person too close to something that we actively have to keep people away from.
Yeah.
And then also whatever the fuck that thing was that I saw, definitely doesn't help.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting thing to look at, and obviously, Glomus will look into it in time.
I remember the other thing I was going to ask.
We just come back and Glomus is just dead, and it's like, oh no.
And the pastor's just like, well, hi there, everybody. This is a nice little house I found. How was it
set up a parish out here?
Was it that Antoine was described as dressing eccentric as well, or was it just that he acted eccentric?
I think he mostly acted as eccentric. I think I described him wearing a seersucker suit a couple times.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Just the last thing I thought about last sesh was the like pastels that you described of the guy in the Jeep.
Yes.
And like I knew obviously it wasn't Antoine, but like I thought there might have been connections there that we hadn't made yet, but that makes more sense. Okay.
Yeah, no. In case since you already know his identity, that's Ezra Blackburn.
Ezra Blackburn.
You don't know like who he is still, except that he drove the pink Jeep.
What?
Yeah, that's the detective told you who he was.
Yeah.
So that'll be an interesting thread for you eventually to
Figure out who tried to kill me. Yeah.
I was surprised that y'all didn't. I will say this: I was surprised you didn't like pursue it further right away. But
I'm going to be honest,
had pressing issues. So I kind of get it.
We did spend 15 episodes wondering who hit us and tried to hit us in a pink Jeep, and then we found out and we were like, "Oh, that's cool." Off to other things.
We kind of had to deal with a ghost that stole someone's sister.
It reminds me of the episode. Oh gosh, which cartoon was it? The superheroes where they switch bodies with everybody, the good guys and bad guys, and I think it's Lex Luthor's in the
Quantum
Flash's
Leap
body. And he pulls off the mask and he's like, "I'm finally going to figure out who you are." And he pulls off the mask and he's like, "I have no idea.
I don't know who the fuck this is."
the smile and then immediately fades into just disdain.
Yeah.
I can't do anything with this. Who the fuck?
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite episodes from the Justice League Unlimited series. Yeah.
Thank you, Justice League Unlimited. That is that's a good episode.
Yeah.
Good series.
I would also like to clarify for the group and also for the listeners. In that very first episode when Marcy almost got hit by the Jeep, I legitimately didn't realize that like anyone other than Marcy was there for that incident. For the first half hour of that recording until you were like until Dan was just like, all right, I was just gonna acknowledge that their homie almost got hit by a Jeep. That's weird.
I mean, I think I opened with like, you guys are on the south side of the road and you're about to cross.
Listen, absolutely. I didn't say that it was your fault. I just said I didn't realize.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Hey,
I recognize I'm at fault here, but
I do appreciate when you go back and listen and point things out. That's always nice.
One thread I'm interested in pulling on just a little bit is the mayor had a meeting with my uncle, the judge, that he was really worried about.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And I'm curious as to what's going on there a little bit. It could just be something completely bland, but he seemed pretty worked up about it.
I wouldn't put, I mean, come on, that's pretty salacious. I wouldn't put something that tasty in. And
yeah, I know.
For you.
I know it could just be like he, forgot to pay his income taxes, or, something stupid like that. But it's just like
Are we still
I
going
was
bowling?
like, hey, I never know with these things.
Golf?
That is an interesting one. I don't know how you will get the information about what that meeting was about, but there are obviously ways, whether you discuss it directly with your uncle or whether you discuss it with the mayor. Obviously, the mayor pulled Cyril aside and was like, "Hey, do you have any idea what this could be about?"
Right.
So you could go back to the mayor and be like, "Hey, by the way, what was that dinner about?" That you have, or you could ask your uncle. You could, there's a handful of things that you could do to figure that out. And I'll be curious.
Yeah.
I imagine that we'll have a little bit of, but I'm not gonna get back into like every a day by day thing quite yet. For this next sort of downtime experience, it's going to be a little bit longer term, unless we like really find a lead that we want to push on.
Yeah.
I'm open to a couple days a week or so of like what's the general holding pattern.
Well, in terms of Cyril, that is a thread that I would like to explore just a little bit. I'd like to deal with what happened to Antoine, because I think that's Cyril is now fully involved in this, but he will also protect the manor as much as needs to be protected, I suppose. But then I think also Cyril is going to kind of revel in the fact that they did it and take advantage of the things that come along with just a little bit of fame, just a little bit of 15 minutes of fame. I think he will take full advantage of all of the stuff that happens with that when he can.
Oh, I bet he's looking forward to the groupies.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
God.
not to put too fine a point on it.
Well, I will say this. I think I dropped in one of the end of like maybe episode 23, sort of the post credits. I was like, hey, by the way, if you have NPC ideas, send them to me because we're about to have a lot of potential NPC interactions. So I will say that there will be a lot of people coming to Carrefour.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
the world's first confirmed ghost sighting.
Yeah.
True.
So
Totally legit confirmed, yeah.
obviously, there's always going to be the people who are like, oh, no, this is CGI. But I think Carrefour has not, I mean, it's been on the map before, obviously, because of sort of general history of the town, but it's not been like a super touristy place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did have this image, and I can't remember. I think it's from where you said that the ward broke, and I had this image in my head of oh gosh, this is so old, but Bleach, when they break the like seal to like attract all the hollows.
Oh,
That's immediately what I thought of, where they were like, oh, we're gonna do this and it's gonna summon this huge hollow that they're gonna have to defeat. And that's immediately what I thought. I was like, oh great, now everything that's been pushed out for so long is gonna start flooding in. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I haven't described most of the like mechanics behind the ward, but I'll say it's not so much that it's like I think Tyler said it was like the Iron Dome, which is kind of,
Yep.
but it's almost more like cloaking. So it both prevents things from entering, but it also sort of obscures the existence of, so that it's not like you have a big, again, like not to be like literal, but it's not like there's an army of undead surrounding the ward and they're just sort of like
Sure.
waiting for entry. It's like they wouldn't even be aware of Carrefour really as a
Oh,
place.
that's cool.
It would be like how most people think of like Oklahoma City. It's like, well, yeah, I know it exists, but it's not like I'm going to go out of my way to
Yo,
go
has this
there.
place always been right here?
And
Damn,
I lived in
that's
Edmond.
crazy.
I lived in Edmond, and I love Oklahoma City. But like, Oklahoma City is not like a tourist town, right? People are
Right.
people don't typically go out of their way to go to Oklahoma City. That's
It's a
right. It
good
took-
city, but there's nothing
Right.
there to go to for, really.
great city, and it does have great things in it, but it's like those are good things to do on top of whatever reason you're already going there.
Hmm.
I feel like I have just really offended all my Oklahoma City friends. And
I was just like,
I love
we're
Oklahoma
just
City,
killing all the states.
Louisiana.
I love
Right.
Oklahoma City, but like, yeah,
Fuck you, Pennsylvania. You're next.
it's
Fuck
it's
you,
the metaphysical equivalent of a flyover state. That's what the
Holy
award
shit.
essentially did.
As a Hoosier, I feel very looked at right now.
Well,
Seen.
I mean, yeah, it is a flyover state. So.
Yeah, literally. I think for me, both as a player and in character, I think the big thing is that I want to really harp on in this next arc, obviously depending on what kind of shows up, is Ezra and the pink Jeep, and also the priest, for sure. I think those are the big two that are harping on Joel's mind and my brain. I think those are the two biggest connections that we should, or that Joel will try to definitely work towards.
Okay.
Since we don't really, I mean, Antoine's body is important because there needs to be a closure there, but I think the biggest thing for him was getting Chelsea out, and Chelsea's free now, so like that's less of an issue for him now.
I had, by the way, Noah. I had like a breakthrough, I guess you could say, in terms of what the story is going on with Barnabas.
Yeah.
I know I've been sort of like hinting at something weird going on, and Marcy's
Yeah, and I
ability
failed
to
all my rolls and like,
what
oh yeah,
it
no,
is.
nothing's wrong with my uncle. He's
And-
perfectly fine.
Again, prior to now, I've just been sort of vague and like I didn't even know a ton of what was going on, but I sort of like I was like, oh, I know what's up.
Hell
This all
yeah.
makes sense. And so,
Okay.
whenever, that's again, he's doing something and he does want you to be there, but it's possible that the incoming influx of people will throw some wrenches in that plan.
Oh boy. Oh boy. I'm excited. I'm excited for whatever you throw at us next session and that next arc in general.
Yeah. I think I have, okay, after talking with everyone, I gotta sort of prioritize what I think this next arc will be, and then that way I can organize things and hopefully draw a strong thread through the sort of main thing, and then have all the side stuff kind of tie back into it.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions that you have?
What is the meaning of life?
Nope, not answering that one.
Fuck.
We'll get him next
I
time.
do know it, but I'm just not sharing it with y'all.
Oh, now that's extra rude. Hold on. No, I think all the questions that I had have either been answered through this conversation or naturally through the game, or they don't exist yet. Is the other thing.
And I guess to be fair, y'all also can pretty easily tell like what is still coming in the future, versus what are sort of like the obviously, so I'll say this for the whole Marguerite mystery, it was always intended to be like a progressive, like, okay, there's some ghost, okay, she is related somehow to Colette. Okay, what was Colette's deal? All right, Colette and Sawyer had a thing. Oh, maybe this is the ghost child. Okay, well, that doesn't really make sense because why is the ghost child like an 8-year-old girl and maybe died right away? So that was always intended to be like a progressive realization of what had happened. So hopefully some of these other mysteries are similarly progressively understood.
Yeah, I think you did a really good job of slowly kind of stretching out those revelations as well.
Yeah, and I at times I wondered like, oh, is this too repetitive from like an audio standpoint? But I think listening back, I think it was handled pretty okay.
I think every time that something that it came back up, it was from another perspective, so something got added on, whether it be, like hearsay or actual proper um like truth. And that's really fun from a player's perspective, and also listening to these as they're coming out, being able to like listen to it and connect those threads as a listener, because I forget everything if the notes are not immediately in front of me. So it feels like I'm remembering and relearning what happens as I listen along. So I think it did a pretty good job with it. I think you did a good job.
Okay,
I
good.
agree.
Well, I think that will ramp things up for the talk back. I guess let me ask one more question. What's aside from obviously the vaping alligator on rollerblades? What is one more thing that you hope to see in this campaign, whether in this next arc or just eventually?
Evil Dead moment. Not even gonna lie.
Okay, Evil Dead moment. There were several movies involved in the Evil Dead franchise and a TV
Yes.
show. So,
Yeah.
which are you
Pick
talking?
the best one,
Chainsaw
Dan.
Arm?
Pick the best one, Dan.
Okay, all right. This is my book.
If it's gonna be a chainsaw arm, I volunteers tribute.
All right.
It is significantly less in the eldritch side of the story, but I really am excited to see how you bring Ivy into the story, and being able to see the interaction of these two individuals who are very not good for each other. And I think that will be very fun, and I'm very excited to get that involved in the game, and also for the role play.
Mark, you got something?
Can you redo the entire Horus conspiracy or the Horus heresy from
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I'd really love it if we got to that kind of level of detail.
Okay, all right. I will.
No, I
It all
don't.
started on Olenor.
I think that the thing that I want to see the most going forward is I just want to see how crazy the fallout can get.
Yes.
From what happens here. Like Evil Dead moment, great, but like how crazy can we really push this to, like, where the whole town is just aflame with, riddled with, whatever kind of eldritch nonsense you can come up with.
The proverbial occult Eye of Sauron has turned its eye to this town, and just a horde of chaos is unleashed upon it.
Yeah, and it doesn't need to be like huge chaos. Like, we don't need to have,
The Sasquatch
Hastur show up or anything. But like, yeah, just like, I just am curious, like, how it's going to affect the town as a whole in terms of like murder rate and, things of those natures as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious to see how that affects what happens there.
Well, then that might be a good way to end this episode, because at the beginning we always introduce this as this is season 1 of Chaos Springs Eternal. The name of this season is City of Woe, and this is really where it becomes the City of Woe. This was
right.
The ward coming down was sort of always unknown.
Sure.
And so we're about to see why we call it City of Woe. Thank you for tuning in this week to Quartermasters of the Tabletop presents Chaos Springs Eternal. This is the season 1 City of Woe. Sorry for my voice. I was at the Alamo Bowl and I yelled a lot. I won't tell you which team I was supporting, but I had plenty of reasons to yell. So join us next week as we get back into the story, assuming that we can get caught up with editing and recording. Holidays have been, a little fall behind, but I've got a lot planned, and I really enjoyed the talkback, the chance for players to sort of give their feedback, and hopefully you enjoyed a little bit of the behind the scenes. And if you have any questions, make sure you shoot us a message. Our Gmail should be in the show notes, and send us any sort of feedback that you'd like. And if you have an idea for an NPC to bring to Carrefour, please go ahead and check that out. Also, check out our Twitter. I recently posted the map that we got commissioned of Carrefour from Eldritch Dream, at Eldritch Dream on Twitter. Definitely check it out. It's pretty cool, I think. So, all right, we'll see you next week.
Penis.
Hello and welcome back
Wiener.
to... Hello and welcome
Schlong.
back. Hello
Johnson.
and welcome. Hello and
Johnson.
welcome back.
Oh wait, no, you already used that one.
Schween.
Okay, go ahead, Dan.
Hello and welcome back to Chaos Brings Eternal. I muted you.